When WCW started to pick up steam for Nitro, how bad was it behind the scenes in WWF? Were people panicking, or is it...
No, I didn't see anybody panic. I know there was a big thing about ratings the next day. Oh yeah, we beat them, we beat them, we beat them, and then after we weren't beating them, you didn't hear about it anymore.
Do you think Vince was personally hurt by Hogan, Savage, and Piper all jumping ship to WCW?
If it was, he didn't show it.
Memories of Vince and the company's reaction to the Clique Farewell in MSG when Scott and Kevin were leaving to go to WCW and they did the cage match and they all came in and broke character.
I remember that. I was looking there and I was looking at Vince and I'm thinking, well, what the hell is going on? I thought maybe it was Vince's idea or Vince gave his blessing on it. I had no idea. But I said, for God's sake. We worked so hard to protect the business, and now it's all out in the open. And it's...
How bad was Hunter in the doghouse after that?
Yeah, I think... I didn't see him shine anywhere for a while.
He had to wait a couple months.
Yeah.
How close was the company to actually maybe possibly going out of business around this period of time?
No, I never heard anything about that. So.
Oh, you know what? I switched pages around, so that's what happened there. That's why I just jumped 5, 6, 7. Okay. We already talked about that. Memories of Owen Hart.
Oh, Owen was. He was a ribber, and he was a real good guy. And I remember taking him one time. He blew his knee out and put him in the back of my car and took him to the hospital. And they did whatever they had to do. And then I brought him back out, got him to the hotel. And then he used to ask me, because I think I was a kind of a, what do you call it? Unqualified financial advisor,
Right.
And they'd ask me questions, and he asked, he was saying, well, I'm going to buy my house. What do you think? I'm going to buy a little cabin up there. I said, that's a good idea, He had his life pretty much set, what he was going to do. It was a hell of a worker, too.
One of the best.
Yeah.
What are your memories of the tragic night that he passed?
Well, actually, I was at ringside for those events, and Bruce Pritchard come out. He said, Owen's down. And I thought, well, he's come down. And he come down early. And and then I found out, he'd fallen. So I raced down there, and there he was. He was laying, on the mat, and I said, damn, he's alive, and then they took him out, and I thought there was a chance he was alive.
Wow.
Yeah, but...
tragic.
Oh, I went to his funeral, and I had a black band, and I kept it on my dresser in my bedroom, and I must have had it there for 7 or 8 years.
Wow.
It was tough.
Do you think WWE should have shut down the pay-per-view after that, or do you think that it was business as usual? And
well, we didn't know.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that was it.
Why do you think I'm just going through all different questions here.
Yeah.
No rhyme or reason.
You're right.
Why do you think The Undertaker had the staying power that he did as a talent? Why do you think he was able to stay on top for such a long time?
Well, I think, part of it, people believed in him. He was like a Johnny Valentine, I guess. That's
right.
That name's come up a lot, He believed in him, and he was a leader in the locker room,
Of course.
Yeah, it was like, he was a no-nonsense guy. Great guy, but no nonsense,
Would you consider him the closest thing to this generation's Andre as an attraction goes?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
What are your thoughts on Steve Austin and The Rock, and why do you think they had so much success in the business?
Because those guys loved each other. I mean, it's like, what the hell? I mean, I think The Rock, signed an autograph to Steve, The Rock,
Right.
on an 8x10. It came. They were always ripping each other. Yeah.
As far as like separately, like as far as like Steve Austin goes by himself, why do you think he was able to get himself so freaking over? Do you think he had the it factor?
Well, he had that, but he done something. You're talking about wrestling, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think because he was given the opportunity, so who else tells the boss to go F themselves, And that's what everybody wants to do,
Right.
so they can relate to him,
They got emotionally, yeah.
Yeah, and then he had the beer, the beer thing. I don't know where all this stuff come from,
Did you know The Rock was going to take off as big as he did? Did you see the potential in him?
No, I didn't see any. And I've known The Rock since he was this high. I went to a party at his great-great-grandmother's house. No, his great-grandmother, yeah. And I knew his grandmother and his grandfather, because I knew his mother and father. But, Rock told me he used to take my picture at the Sunoco station in Hamden. He'd be behind the pump, and he'd sneak a picture. But I had no idea,
That is great.
Yeah, and he's, he's probably the most successful.
And he's the top box office draw in Hollywood too. So, and most paid actor. So
yeah, I would have lost my shirt on that.
You never saw it. Wow.
Yeah.
How did the company's behind the scenes organization from day to day change when the company went public?
I really don't know, but I'll tell you a little story about that going public. I was in L.A. and I was talking with somebody from the office. And they'd bought the hotel in Las Vegas, but they had to renovate it, and it was going to cost a lot of money. I don't know what happened to the hotel.
Right.
But I said to this guy, I said, just talking like you and me are talking, I said, why doesn't the WWF go public? And he looked. And I could see, it was, and I don't know who the hell it was. But then 8-9 months later, they went public. So I don't know if I inserted that pill or not. But it's something that happened, or maybe it was already in motion.
Did the company change when it went public, as far as like behind the scenes operations?
I didn't see any changes. No.
Okay. Memories of Eddie Guerrero.
Oh, Eddie, what a classic he was. And it seemed like to me he wanted to do so good, as champion, and he was always questioning himself. It's like he didn't have the confidence. He didn't realize how good he was and what he had, and we were doing something, where, he used something, and then he faked
the chair.
That he was done.
Yeah, I think it was the chair,
Yeah. And there were some other things. I forget. There was a whole bunch of stuff, but we talked about the different things that he could do.
Right.
Yeah, but he was just unbelievable.
What are your thoughts after Eddie passed? The company started doing the wellness policy coming out of his passing. Were you for that? Good policy, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not going to do it on your own, and you can't, if you're not going to do it by yourself, you got to be kind of forced to do it. When they started doing it, I had a show up in Canada, and they didn't want me to use 6 guys. Just say, go to the office tomorrow.
Right.
You're not working tonight. So imagine I had to change the whole freaking card around. Oh.
Because they failed the test or something?
Yeah.
What do you remember of Chris Benoit?
Oh, Chris was, he was a hard worker. He seemed like a good guy. I mean, it really surprised me, you know, what happened with Chris. I mean, heck of a worker, put everything he had into it. He could do this stuff.
One of the best in the world.
Yeah. I still remember one finish he had that was close to the ropes. I know it was like a small package, I think, and then you reached up and grabbed the rope and reversed it somehow. Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember exactly what it was, but...
What are your memories of the day at Raw when they announced what happened with Chris? They did the big tribute show.
Oh, yeah. I had a hard job. I don't think I could go out, or if I did, I went out at the very behind where nobody could see me. Right. But everybody, you know, all these wrestlers, and, you know, wrestlers have feelings too, you know, and with situations like this, I've seen, you know, more than one time, you know, Terry coming down. It's tough. Well, it's a family. You know, it's like you've lost a brother, you lost a sister, you know.
Whose death hit you the hardest?
I don't know. Let me see. Probably Strongbow, because he was close to me, you know.
Right.
I used to go down, visit him when he retired, you know, and I'd stay over and his wife would cook, you know, and we'd go for a ride into town. He lived in Georgia in the country. And then I'd leave, you know, and he'd get emotional when it was time for me to go.
Right.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.